Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome current board member and 2009 Boys and Girls Clubs president, Lisa Blumenstock.
Well, good evening, everybody. It is fabulous to see such a great room of wonderful people here to celebrate such a really momentous occasion in the 75th anniversary of our Boys and Girls Clubs. I was so humbled when Pat approached me not too long ago and said, Lisa, would you mind saying a few words just about the history of the club? And as I was thinking about what I might share with you this evening for the next few minutes, it struck me, this is a perfect occasion for all of us to celebrate our personal histories with the club and just sort of bask in thankfulness for just a little while. It's about the kids, it's about the staff, it's about the people, it's about the movement, it's about community. So I thought it might be fun tonight to just stroll down memory lane. Most of us know that the undisputed founder of the Springfield Boys and Girls Club was Jenny M. Lincoln. It was the Boys Club at the time. Now, she was a wife of a juvenile court judge, and her husband was concerned about the young men who were coming before him in court with special problems. And she was a woman who decided to do something about it. And so she started having meetings in her home. Later, those meetings moved to the basement of the community building on Commercial Street, and that first activity in that basement was 75 years ago, this November 4th. There were 25 to 50 boys back then, just like today. The club was supported by businesses and volunteers from this great, good community we call Springfield. Sadly, Ms. Lincoln passed away only a year before the club was officially affiliated with the national organization in 1946. Now, throughout the 40s, the Sertoma Club, give a shout out for Sertoma, was absolutely, they are credited with keeping the Boys and Girls Clubs alive. A new Boys Club building was constructed in 1949. And the first thing they did in that building, I love this story, the first thing they did was have a huge Christmas party for the members. Isn't that fantastic? A huge Christmas party. What's most interesting to me about that period of time is that our junior high schools did not have indoor gymnasiums. And so for us to have an indoor gymnasium was a tremendous treat for the boys that would come. All the while, the membership of the club continued to grow throughout the 50s and the 60s. And all of this was due to great leadership and great generosity and a great commitment to our kids. Now, our oldest living past president is Paul Mignard. Is Paul here tonight by chance? I think he's in his 90s. God bless him. Isn't that fantastic? And at the time that he served as president in 1968, our budget was about $130,000. At that time, the club met in the original building on Boonville. And the Boys Club had a fantastic basketball program at the time. There were about 200 teams, about 2,000 boys were involved. And I'm sure at that time, Paul would never have imagined how far we would come in the next 45 years. As we moved into the 70s, we purchased an 8-acre tract of land and had a capital funds campaign to finance the construction of the building, which became known as the Musgrave West Side Unit Boys Club. Groundbreaking for this unit occurred in 1973, and the final construction was completed in 1981. This project included a 34,000 square foot building, gym, swimming pool, and an outside tennis court. And all of this was due to great leadership and great generosity and great commitment to our kids. So as we moved into the 80s, we saw the retirement of Bill Henderson after an amazing 38 years as executive director. Tom Huff, who we'll hear from later this evening, replaced Bill in 1983. He served for 3 years until Bill Stallnaker took over the helm in 1986. By 1983, the budget had increased to $246,000, and 250 kids were served a day. All that was due to great leadership and great generosity. Growth continued through the 90s as the Boys Club merged with the Girls Club. And in 1991, we officially became the Boys and Girls Club of Springfield. So now we approach the turn of the century, and it became clear that we needed to have a much larger facility for the growth of the number of kids that we wanted to serve. And so we had another capital campaign, and we built a 32,000 square foot facility that would soon become known as the Stallmaker Unit. This building was completed in 2003, and it continues to be a state-of-the-art facility for boys and girls clubs. By 2003, we had grown to the point of serving 500 kids a day. In 2005, an additional capital campaign was started to remodel the Musgrave unit and rebuild the Henderson unit. And so here we are in 2013, and what are we doing? We are serving 650 kids a day, 850 or more in the summer. And our budget has grown to over $2 million. And all of that was due to great leadership and great generosity and great commitment to our kids. I mean, as impressive as it is to go from a budget of $130,000 to a budget of over $2 million, as impressive as it is to go from 1 unit to 3 units over the course of our history, that isn't even the best part. That isn't even the most important part. You see, the truth of the matter is that if all the hard work of our staff and volunteers was only about the growth of buildings and bank accounts, our service would be pretty hollow, wouldn't it? But we all know that's not the case. You see, the reason our service and our support is rich and meaningful and life-changing isn't because of buildings and bucks, as cool as that is. The reason we're here in this room celebrating our 75th anniversary tonight is because of the opportunities we have had to participate in the growth of lives and leadership and laughter and love. That's the best part. And so we've grown our programming from what was primarily physical fitness to such a wide variety of opportunities for our kids, it just leaves you breathless. So now, in addition to physical fitness, we teach computer skills and financial literacy and provide homework help and opportunities for community service and programs about character and responsibility and healthy choices and self-esteem and the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse and music lessons and employment opportunities and mental health assistance and scholarships and field trips and special clubs for every kind of interest, from fashion to photography. It just leaves you breathless, doesn't it? Closing out my remarks to you this evening, I sure don't want to come off as preachy or pretentious. I hope you will allow me to share one of my favorite definitions of the word blessed. The definition is this: to share in the life of God. Think about that, to share in the life of God. Now, I certainly don't pretend to be any kind of expert on the character of God, but I believe this with all my heart. God loves kids. And if our involvement with the club, if our support of the club has allowed us to love our kids better and to love them more, we have been truly blessed. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here tonight.